What's up, my beautiful family? Look at y'all already ready for me. I am so happy to be here and be a part of this conversation tonight. Sisters and brothers, I am late. I'm late tonight. I'm late, but hey, what do you want from me? I was being a mom. So I have no choice but to late. I love to come on and talk to the community and be an educator for our people. At the same time, my duties cannot get lost in the mix, so I have to make sure I do what I need to do in order for my children to have what they need. And the littlest one wanted me to watch a movie with him, so I was a mommy and I came on and I watched the movie with him. And even though I was itching because I had a little bit of homework to do before I came on tonight, I was trying to be calm. I was trying to go through my phone to look at some information while I was watching The Grinch, something I'm totally not interested in. However, I didn't want him to think that mommy wasn't paying attention. So I put my phone down. He jumped on the couch with me, was all up under me. And then he picked up his iPad. And I felt like if you're going to be in your iPad, I might as well just go and be on the computer. But, I wasn't petty like that. I stayed the whole entire time so he can enjoy himself. And so he won't grow up with a traumatized mind thinking that his mother work was more important than him, and I need to have balance in the house. So I exhibited such, and now I'm here. So, brothers and sisters, I am so sorry I am late, but I think you guys can understand why I dedicated myself to my children tonight. In the meantime, in between time, thank you, family, for all those who have sent in their donations. I really appreciate you guys because donations help to keep this work alive. So I don't want you guys to think that your donations are in vain, because your donations are not in vain. And most importantly, if you're not on this side of the chair or this side of the computer, you may not fully understand what it takes to make things happen on this side of the industry. So I've been researching for 5 days straight, kid you not, as though I'm trying to get a degree. So your donations help with things like that. And it helps for me to do the work that I do when I offer people free services when they need me. So that really does help me to compensate for taking up a slot that I will otherwise get paid for to do counseling, to give it to somebody who doesn't have the money in order for them to get counseling. So your donations help me a lot. I want to say thank you to William Scott, who is one of my faithful weekly contributors, and I love him so much. Thank you so much for that donation, Mr. Hannah. I also want to say thank you to Dylan Turner, who is a consistent contributor to the channel, and as well as Earl, Black Mama, who is a consistent contributor, and Celeste. So I want to thank you all for your recent donations to the channel. You guys really do help me, and I want to appreciate that. Those who want to donate on Cash App or Venmo, or PayPal, it is the same. You can do the $ Dr. Shonna on Cash App, the @ Dr. Shonna on Venmo, or you can send it to Shonna Etienne on PayPal.me. I want to appreciate you guys. All the people in the chat that donate, I want to say thank you to you guys because your donations help as well in order for me to provide the services to people. What's up, Sid? How you doing, brother? But for everyone else, I appreciate you. Even you showing up helps the channel. It helps the channel because this is more about getting the information out there, and this is more about us altering or elevating, rather, the way we think in order for us to make changes in our lives and to save our families. Because this is all about our families, which includes our intimate relationships. So that's what it's about. But here's what you guys can do for me in the chat that costs you no money at all. No money, zero, nothing. You don't have to do nothing but show up and share the video. So brothers and sisters, go ahead and hit that share. I already did my job with sharing the video. I'm asking that you guys share the video to your audience. Do not worry about whether somebody's going to like what they hear or not. It's educational. I'm going to keep it as clean as possible because y'all know sometimes I go a little crazy with my mouth. I'm a doctor that curses. So I'm going to try to be as clean as possible. Share the video. Share the video. Hit that little like button. Give this video a thumbs up, and to all the 4 or 5 haters out there, give the video a thumb down, whatever you want to do. Just interact with the video. And most importantly, hit the bell. Hit the bell so you can know when I'm going live. Today, we're talking about the music industry. And don't worry, people. I've gotten some of your text messages, people who have been privy to get my private cell phone number. And even though I don't respond to all the text messages, one day I'll screenshot how many text messages I get a day. And then you guys are like, okay, I understand why she don't get back to me. Or I'll show you the 18,000 emails that are sitting there. And then you'll wonder why I don't get back to you, but it's not by me being mean. It's just that I have so much to filter through that I may overlook it or it might be overwhelming, so I shut down. But I get the text messages. And one text message from a sister that has been connected with me for a while now, I want to be able to address her and have this video on behalf of what she sent me. Something she said, and I didn't respond to it, not because I did not want to, but because I was thinking about how to respond to it, because my thoughts are a little different than her thoughts. Somebody said I look beautiful in red. Oh, please don't give me compliments. You know, my head is big. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate that. I want you, yes, Sid, I did get the article that you sent me, and I'm going to get back to you. I did read your article, Sid. Sid is a community member. If you're a community member and you send me something, you're going to get like first dibs on me responding to you because you're a community member. You're contributing to the channel. You're paying for the channel, whatever level you are in. So you're going to get my reaction and my response as long as it's respectful. You're going to get that from me. But here's the thing. I wanted to respond to her because she asked me to stop talking about, for a moment, racism and white supremacy. She said that our community has greater things that are upon us. And it goes a little bit deeper than racism and white supremacy. So she wanted me to pay attention to the stuff that's going on in our community and to dedicate some time to you all to address issues in our community that are hurting us. Thank you for joining the community. I appreciate that. I didn't respond because what I know from my research, from my data, from my understanding, from my readings, from my own education, what I know, and when I say education, people, I'm not talking about formal education. I'm talking about education, period. Whether you're learning on your own or you got a formal education. Education is education. I'm not somebody who judge by education necessarily, unless you want some ignorant bullshit, then I'm going to judge you. But nonetheless, I couldn't separate racism as an institution in the system or white supremacy as an institution in the system, or white superiority as an institution and a racism. I couldn't separate it because that's the main ingredients. It's like getting a pancake box that's not complete and you got to add the other ingredients. The egg is a necessary ingredient because it makes your pancakes bind if you're using pancakes that have eggs in it. Milk is a necessary ingredient, and oil are the necessary ingredients in order for the pancake to work. That's how I think about racism, white supremacy, and white superiority. That's how I think of it. So even though people may want me to address issues in our community that are plaguing us, we have to understand that everything is rooted in the social, historical context here in America. We cannot ignore context. And for all my critical thinkers who have their pen and papers, you got to write that down. That has to be a headline. We cannot ignore context. And I think this conversation is very appropriate for where I'm going tonight, because that is why we are in the mess that we are in right now. Listen, brothers and sisters, come on. Y'all know I'm a product of the baby boomer generation. Now, I don't want y'all baby boomers. Here's a disclaimer, because I know a lot of you guys are critical thinkers in this community, and I appreciate you guys. I love every last one of you guys, but we have to face the facts here. My generation are products of the baby boomer generation. If people want me to go out there and address the parenting or the leadership per se of my generation and how it is impacting our young adults and our children, which is the following generation, the millennials and the Gen Zs. I think that's what they call them, right? They want me to address them, right? That's what they want me to do. But we can address the millennials and the Generation Zs without addressing the baby boomers and the silent population, the silent generation. We cannot address one without addressing the other. And that's why this is all about context. Context. Everything has to be in context. And what's so funny is the people contacting me are generally in that baby boomer realm, and never do they think in their brain that they have contributed to the mess that we are in. You want to blame my population, the Generation Xers. You want to blame the millennials, and you want to blame the Generation Zs, but you're exempt? Nah, baby, it don't work that way. So when I come on, I'm coming on for us to have critical conversation, for us to engage in critical discourse. And that's what we're doing tonight. So we're going to address the music industry. We're going to address the music industry that did not start with my generation. It did not start with the Generation Xers, those of us born in the 70s and some of the 80s. It didn't address us. It didn't address the millennials. And it didn't address the Generation Zs. It's addressing the baby boomer population. So everything is within context. Context. So let's really go into context. How can we really understand the conditions of our community without examining the cause? So asking me to remove racism and white supremacy and white superiority out of the question, out of the conversation, is out of the question. We can't do that. Everything needs context. So let's go ahead and put this music industry in context, because I don't know about y'all. If y'all follow me on my Instagram page, y'all know I share my life on Instagram. I keep it fun on Instagram because Instagram is not really where I do my activism. It's not really where I mobilize the people or educate the people or draw the people in through my subliminal ways. Because we're grown as a family. Y'all just don't know that, but we know that we're grown as a family. So Instagram is a fun page. And as you guys would know, I do post sometimes my ratchetness. I'm guilty. Y'all ain't gonna judge me, right? I don't care if y'all do judge me. It's okay. Because if I cared that y'all did judge me, I wouldn't share so much of my personal life. I let you guys into a lot of my personal life, the life that is relevant for teaching and not just talking just to talk, right? The stuff that's relevant for teaching. You guys know about me, right? So y'all know that every now and then, I like to listen to ratchet music. Every now and then. I don't buy it. I never buy it. I never buy ratchet music whatsoever. I don't pay for any streaming platforms. I don't do none of that stuff. I get access to the music just like you guys get access to the music, right? But I don't pay for it. So I say that to say, somebody said, you are not ratchet, you are real. No, I'm saying I like ratchet music, and you don't see me behind closed doors. Sometimes we do some crazy things in my family, but it's only in closed doors. It's nothing in the public. When I go outside, I'm posed and proper. I'm prim and proper. I speak differently when I'm outside. But when I'm indoors with the people that I know, I like to listen to that kind of music because something that music does to the brain. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that tonight, right? So I say that to say, I noticed that even though I do that, I'm smart enough to know when my youngest child is around, the music go off, right? I whoop, whoop, put the clean version, whoop, change the song, whoop, put your behind away. Don't be doing all that stuff. I know that because I know the dangers of music. But something is happening in our community, and it's not new. It's not new to our community. What is happening has been happening in our community the minute the white man, I don't like to have these conversations, but we having real conversations tonight, right? The minute the white man opened up the door to his world, so-called integration, his world, and let us in, we started to contribute to the demise of our community. Let's talk about it, family. Let's get into it now. I hope I set the stage. I hope you guys know where this is going. I hope you have your pen and paper, because not only am I going to be teaching, I'm going to bring in evidence. So let's get through the beginning of this. The music industry is not getting out of control. I want to make that very, very clear. I know a lot of you guys that think that the music industry is getting out of control, but the music industry is not getting out of control. The music industry has been out of control. The minute the white man put his hands on our music, the music industry has been out of control. It has been that way strategically and has been that way for a reason. It is called social engineering. And I know I speak about social engineering so often, but people, we have to really understand how deep social engineering really goes. We have to understand that the greed of corporations has contributed to the music industry getting out of control. We have to understand that generational struggles among our own people have contributed to the music industry getting out of control. We have to understand that political corruption has contributed to the music industry getting out of control. I'm going to have those conversations right there, because we cannot keep ignoring what's going on. Music and the Black community has turned into another form of slavery. Ooh, they go a word you guys don't like to hear. A lot of people don't like to hear that S word. Ooh, slavery. Ooh, I prefer you say enslaved. We are not slaves. We are enslaved. Not that what people are saying is not true, because it is, but we like things that make us feel good. We want to feel bad, but at the same time, we're changing all these languages, all these songs, all these words. We're changing everything, but we don't want to really address the issues at hand. We don't really understand how our generational struggles has allowed corporations to exploit us. We don't want to understand the struggle of Black folks in America, coming up from slavery to Reconstruction to Jim Crow and segregation to current days. We don't want to talk about how our lineage here in America has impacted us, and it has played a heavy part in our psychological programming, because we don't want to struggle. So we have been conditioned to sell our vocals, to sell our songwriting, to sell our talent in order for us to get money. We're looking for opportunities to come up out of the mud. Every last one of us, brothers and sisters, we are lotuses. You know the lotus flower? Do you know the lotus flower grows in mud? It grows in darkness, and it still is a beautiful flower. You understand what I'm saying? We got to understand that our generational struggles has led us to be in this position right now, not because we're not hard workers, not because we don't get out there and do what the hell we have to do to survive, but because the way racism and white supremacy works, it has locked us out on many opportunities. And when it decided to let us in, it let us in under certain conditions. It let us in under certain contracts in order for us to get the money. Oh, y'all not following, but that's okay. Let's go through history for a second, because I know y'all not following, but that's okay, brothers and sisters. We're going to go through history. We're going to talk about the music industry that was once called, when it comes to our music, it was once called race records. If y'all don't believe me, go ahead and look it up. It was called race records. You got to understand that segregation did a major number on our community, a major number. And when it comes to artists and putting their music out there, they were. See, Facebook is already messing with my video. I see it's freezing. How are you guys doing on your part? Because we're talking about the music industry, and y'all have to be prepared for this. So let me go ahead and give y'all the disclaimer, because I already see it freezing on my part. If YouTube, I'm sorry, if YouTube shuts down my video, I want you guys to all come back on. because I'm going to keep coming back on because I'm not in violation of community standards. But you already know the title of the video by itself is going to be flagged. Because anytime you talk about interrupting somebody's money, if you talk about educating our people that has the potential to interrupt their money, they're going to mess with my video. We already know that. We already know this dark cloud that is over certain voices. I already showed you guys the flags that I've been getting for things that did not violate the community standard, and there's no way to fight it. I share with you guys what has been happening with me. And I'm just an educational channel. That's all I do is educate and teach. I don't have no conspiracy theories. I don't talk about things that are out of line, and they mess with my channel all the time. They mess with my channel all the time. So I want y'all to be prepared that they might shut this video down. And if it disconnects, we're going to get back on it. So y'all got to have to stay diligent, family, and be back on it. Because we're talking about the music industry. And if you guys understand how deep this industry goes, if you understand how much programming and social engineering comes out of this industry, if you got to understand how much of our families was destroyed by drug use as a result of this industry, if you have to understand how much of our families was destroyed by sexual exploitation and prostitution out of this industry, if you have to understand how much of our families were destroyed by gun violence out of this music industry, you have to stay on this channel and you have to be diligent and come back on because it gets very deep. And y'all know I'm going to show you all the evidence. You know I'm going to share everything with you. It might require you guys to things up because I came on here through YouTube as opposed to Zoom by accident. But what I can do is copy the links and put everything in the description to back up everything I talk about. So you guys can go directly to the link and see it for yourself. So moving back on because my thing keeps freezing. It keeps pausing on my side. Moving back on. I want y'all to know that during the time of race records, it happened during segregation. And the profit for Black artists was very small, if any at all. And too many Black artists did not get royalties. They were not recognized and they were not known by whites. White people didn't want to have anything to do with Black music. In the white world, Blacks were behind the scene. Whenever it came to the talent of Blacks, the white world kept them behind the scenes. And what they did was give them pennies to write their lyrics for their songs. So they were writing hits, record hits for their community, for their music, and were getting pennies, were not getting royalties, and their names were hidden. Right? No fame, no credit, very little money, if money at all. But then something happened. There was a pivotal moment in this industry where Perry Bradford, y'all need to write his name down there, Perry Bradford, he went to OK Records. Now, Perry was somebody who was a songwriter and he also was a music composer. And he introduced to them an artist called Mamie Smith. I want y'all to look her up. And I wish I would have did this through Zoom because I was all prepared to share her image. But nonetheless, I will put all the links in the video at the end. You can guys go see all the images. Mamie Smith was a black artist, and he convinced the record label OK Records to take her on and produce her music. They produced 2 of her songs, and they were really wary about producing music in the Black world or race music because nobody was really interested in race recordings, race records, race music. They weren't interested in doing anything for the Black community due to segregation, due to racism, white supremacy, white superiority, all of that stuff. They didn't want to have anything to do with anybody Black. So in order for them to sell Mamie Smith's records, what they did was create advertising and marketing campaigns that were demeaning to us as Black folks. And if you see some of their marketing campaigns, if any of you guys are able to open up another window while you are on your window, you can go ahead and put in Mamie Smith racist advertising. And you would see the various advertising where it's blackface, it's the characters that look like, you know, the dark face with the big lips are out there. And they did this to try to sell her records, right? And they didn't think that it was going to pop. They did not think that they were going to make any money. So they demeaned the Black community. They advertised the racist propaganda that shows us looking like we are a bunch of coons, ignorant, playing craps in the street was one of the photos with the image of the person playing craps in the street. Y'all know when you're taking, you hit it against the wall, the dice, you hit it against the wall. Like, y'all not from the hood, you ain't gonna know what I'm talking about. But those from the hood, y'all know what I'm talking about. You hit that dice against the wall and that's your game. That was the image that they gave. And what they did not expect to happen is that sales on Mamie Smith rocketed. 2 songs. One song sold 75,000 copies. The other song sold 100,000 copies. And why? Why did he sell this kind of money, this many records? Is because our community was so excited to see a Black artist finally making it, breaking through mainstream white media and get it on their platform that we rushed out there to buy her music. And this is what started the trend. This is what started other record labels to join in and start targeting Black artists for the purpose of growing their revenue. They noticed that the disrespectful advertisement, the demeaning characterization of Black people did not stop Black people from buying her album. Are y'all catching that? Now, I know my community is filled with a whole bunch of critical thinkers, but I need to make sure you're capturing. I need to make sure you guys are drawing a connection. Don't worry, I'm going to do it for you, but I need to make sure you all are drawing the connection of what I'm driving here. Despite the disrespect, despite the racist advertisement, despite talking about locking up Black men, despite the disrespectful advertisement that was put out there to sell Mamie Smith's records, despite it, Black people showed up in record numbers. Black people made Mamie Smith's album hit the charts. Black people showed up and showed out and spent their money on her record, whether they had the money or not. 2 songs. It cost nothing but $1 and a nickel, maybe even less, to record 2 songs. And we showed up. And they realized at that time, holy shit, no matter what we say about this community, no matter what we do when it comes to marketing and advertisement, this community is going to buy. This is where our money is. And you got to understand, when the record labels were coming out, they were losing money, because at the same time, radio became big and radio was not doing as well. But when they saw that they were able to profit off of our music, and the fact that we as a community were so emotionally reactive, we're so sensitive. When we see one person get out there and one person make it in white world, even if this person brings with them devastating effects for our community. I'm not talking about Mamie Smith necessarily. I'm talking about us as a collective. Even if the Black face that we're honoring brings destruction to our community, we show up to support them no matter what. No matter what. We don't care about the devastating effects. We don't necessarily pay attention to the exploitation. We don't necessarily pay attention to the advertisement that is derogatory and how it's conditioning and programming our minds. Come on, people, we're talking today. This is Mental Health Fridays. We're talking today because we are a hurting community. This is Mental Health Fridays. Y'all know every Friday I show up and I address mental health in the Black community. But see, y'all think mental health in the Black community is going to look like depression. Y'all going to sit down and cry all day and eat some bonbons. Y'all remember bonbons? Nah, baby, that's not mental health in our community. We got to understand that our community is socially engineered to be depressed. Our community is socially engineered to be antisocial. Our community is socially engineered to be anxious, filled with anxiety, to be bipolar, to be narcissist. You got to understand that we just can't take these terms and say, oh yeah, that person is narcissist, that person is depressed, that person is antisocial, that person got conduct disorder, without looking at the engineering behind it. These people saw an opportunity. They saw an opportunity to take from Black record labels. Not only did they see an opportunity to oppress Black record labels, but they saw an opportunity to oppress them and make money from them at the same time. If that's not genius, I don't know what is. And we are so hungry to see our people succeed, brothers and sisters, that we would accept anything. We would accept anything that the record labels put out that is conditioning the minds of our people. You show somebody a derogatory picture long enough, they're going to become desensitized to it. They're no longer going to pay attention to the offensiveness of the picture after the shock wears off. They're just going to accept it. You understand what I'm saying? They're just going to accept it. But what they want to see, what our community want to see more than anything, is somebody making it. We want to see more than anything somebody being on a chart. Shout out to you, Ruby Smith. How you doing? She said, wake us up, Dr. Shonna. I'm trying to, Ruby Smith. I'm trying to. That's all we want to see. We don't care about the bigger picture, the macro level. We're not necessarily paying attention to the fact that these white record labels, not only did they exploit the artists, but they destroyed the Black record labels, because the Black record labels were not able to compete. Why? Despite segregation and racism, I mean, we already know that automatically, they weren't able to compete because they had no access to capital. Isn't this the Adolf story? They had no capital. No capital. They were not able to afford the technology in order to produce the records, because white people not only owned the technology, but they were not selling it to Black record labels. They had no distribution, not on a macro level, not on a level that was able to mass produce and mass distribute. Right? When Mamie Smith's records sold hundreds of thousands, they knew they were onto something. And that's when all the other white companies started to jump in and take advantage of this. Race records started to make sense to white labels. And they realized that it was easier to exploit and underplay Black artists, because Black people, they just want access. We just want access. We just want to make a living like everybody else. We want to get paid like everybody else. We want our talents to be recognized and compensated. We want our work to be recognized and compensated. We want to be able to feed our children. We want to be able to feed our families. And we want to move away from jobs that don't really pay. We want to be able to get the wealth and the riches like everybody else. So what happens when that's our driving force? What happens when we recognize that y'all got us back in those days sharecropping to these days driving Uber? Come on, I'm not trying to insult nobody. I know plenty of you guys are Uber drivers, and I'm not trying to insult anybody. But if you do the math, if you look at how many hours you are out there from the minute you clock on to the minute you clock off, if you look at how many hours you are out there and you calculate it, you are working for slave wages. So when an opportunity presents itself, in order for you to make more money, we're going to take it. Come on, am I not telling the truth? Y'all gotta let me know. Am I not telling the truth? We're gonna take it. It's sometimes the need to be able to survive because we're competing with so many forces. We're competing with so many forces. The need to survive will sometimes put us in compromising positions. Oh, I'm gonna tie it all together. I hope y'all with me, because I'm gonna tie it all together. And with that being said, we have accepted positions in this industry, not realizing that not only will it destroy our community, it will destroy the very essence of who we are. Our agency of self will be destroyed. It will break down our mental health in itself. Think about what I'm saying here, people. During this time, it wasn't regulated. Just because they started to pick up on race records, that's Black music, just because they started to pick up on race records, Black music, doesn't mean they were still respecting the Black body as a human being. It doesn't mean that they felt that the Black body was entitled to earnings equal to the white body. So what they did was they snagged recording rights. This is all in the history. I know y'all looking at what's happening right now, like with Megan Thee Stallion. I know you guys are looking at what's happening right now with people not getting paid their due. But this has been happening since we entered into agreement with white America when it comes to money. They have been snagging the rights of plenty of Black artists. They have been erasing credit, erasing names of plenty of Black artists. Enough to get a record out there or a single hit out there, and then boom, the name is erased, it goes away. You don't even know who they are. This is history. Some of these artists spend countless times with these record labels recording their music back then and even now, and their music never gets published, and they don't even see a dime for their time. Some of these artists are not even operating on contracts that is just and fair. And back in the day, some of these artists had no contracts and no royalties whatsoever. Exploitation. Exploitation. So they saw an opportunity to exploit our community. They saw an opportunity to put out derogatory advertisement, derogatory music, derogatory marketing campaigns, and the music was selling no matter what. But then something else happened, people. Here's the history, people. Something else happened. White audiences caught on. White audience all of a sudden started listening to Black musicians, Black artists, Black music, race records. And when the white audiences started to catch on, and not only did they start to appropriate our music, they was interested in buying our music and having their music, our music, played in their spaces. So then at that time, the industry moved it away from race records or race music to rhythm and blues. Thank you for that donation, Rue. I hope y'all following me. I hope you're following me. Because they had to make sure the language was appropriate to be able to bring the white audiences into the atmosphere. So then they changed it. And it became rhythm and blues. Rhythm and blues. And so what we started to see was a continuation of Black labor and white wealth. Everybody started to jump on it. White businessmen use Black labor in order for them to line their pockets. Black labor, white wealth. Shout out to Dr. Cloyd Anderson. Shout out to Dr. Cloyd Anderson. If y'all don't know who that is, I suggest you guys go ahead and read his book, Black Labor, White Wealth. But you have to understand what happened in the pivotal moment. Why did that become possible? Why were we as a community buying up the music? And why did the white population, the white businessmen in this industry, why did they take a strategic and creative role in exploiting us through propaganda and marketing, not only through our music, but also through advertisement? Why did they do that? You have to understand what sells in the music industry. So there's a poll. Y'all gotta go ahead and look this up, because if I was able to share my screen, if I would have did it the right way, I didn't use the right system, I would have been able to show you guys the poll. But I want you guys to go ahead and look it up. So there's a music poll. Y'all can go ahead and Google, and I will put this link in the description portion. I see my YouTube is acting up again, brothers and sisters. You already know, if it freezes, we're coming back on. Do not run away. There's a music poll, and it's under the website Statista. And the name of the article is Share of Total Music Album Consumption in the United States in 2018 by genre. So for all my brothers and sisters out there who are moderators here for Truth, Gwendolyn and Barb, thank you so much for that donation, family. All of you guys who are my moderators, piece of candy, I need y'all to write that title. Even though I'm going to share the link, write that title. The title of this argument, because I want you guys to go look at it right now and listen to me at the same time if you are able. The share of total music album consumption in the United States in 2018 by genre. Once again, share of total music album consumption in the United States in 2018 by genre. And what it listed at the top of their bar, this statistics bar, was hip hop and rap accounts for 21.7% of the music industry, followed by pop at 20%, rock at 14%, and R&B at 10.6%. Those are the top four. Hip hop and rap is number one. Pop is number two. Rock is number three. R&B is number four. Hip hop and rap brings in so much money into the industry that it is not funny. Followed by pop music. You got to understand that the music industry intentionally and strategically looks for prolific artists and prolific songwriters. They also look for people in the music industry who are active social media users and those who are controversial. Those who are controversial. What am I saying here, family? We look at the stuff that's going on in the streets. We look at the millennials. We look at the Generation Zs getting locked up in prison. We going there, baby. We going there today. Getting locked up in prison. We look at them cussing. We look at them having sex early in life. Everything about money, drugs, and sex. And then we compare it with the music. And there is a reflection of the music. Everything is money, drugs, and sex. And no wonder hip hop and R&B's at the top. So we always ask the question, why isn't the music industry changing the music? Why aren't the artists being more conscious of what they're putting out there in order for them to change what's going on in our communities? My question to people that ask that is, why would they? Why would they? Why would the music industry, who's making billions of dollars, thank you for that donation, William, why would the music industry that's making billions of dollars off of us be interested in changing the music. Hip hop and rap is at the top of the charts. Why would they want to change it? That's what sells. It's controversial. Now you got to think about the artists that they are selecting. The artists have the real Black experience. They're struggling. Most of them are coming from a family in rap and hip hop. We're not talking about pop music, because some of them pop artists, they've been on TV. They got families that was in the music industry, right? And some of the R&B artists the same way. But as you notice, I said R&B is all the way down the bottom of the chart. Ain't nobody really buying R&B anymore. They're going for the raunchy music. They're going for the disrespectful music, because they learned a long time ago, if you put disrespectful marketing out there, disrespectful propaganda out there, that is what's going to sell. I already told you guys the history. Disrespectful marketing campaigns for Mamie Smith was ignored by the Black community. The Black community bought her albums no matter what was marketed. That right there set the stage for exploitation. That right there set the tone for white people to say what sells is disrespectful Black people and disrespecting them. That's what sells. They set the stage right there because it's controversial. It's controversial. And they know that many of us are emotional spenders. Many of us are emotional in how we select our music. Because music, my brothers and sisters, influence the mind. So I want y'all to go to another article. I'm going to put all these links down there. There's another article out there, right? And this one is called, where's my article? Forget about it. I don't know where I put that article at, but I will put the link. But I have to tell you, there's another article out there that examines the effects of music on the brain. And music, when you hear music, it releases dopamine. And if you understand the substance of dopamine and how it impacts the mind, then you understand that the same response that your brain gets from food, drugs, or sex is the same response that your brain gets from music. You got to understand that dopamine is a pleasure hormone. It's a pleasure hormone. And we want to feel good. We are a community of people that is pained. We are a community of people that is depressed. We're angry. We're suffering from so many different types of disorders and defined in the DSM that we use as therapists to give you a diagnosis. There's so many things in our community that ain't even in that book. We are a community that's in pain. And we're always looking for opportunity to feel better. That's why when we saw a Black woman such as Mamie Smith finally breaking through in a white record label, OK Records, picking her up and running her music, we was excited to buy it because it was pleasurable. We wanted to feel good. We wanted to hear her music and feel good, because what we go through in this country, the pain that we carry in this country, is immeasurable. Nobody wants to walk around in pain all day. But if music, food, sex is going to make us feel good, we're going for it. Come on, family. Y'all can't act like I'm the only one that talks about it. Come on, family. Y'all know I'm not the only one that talks about it. How do you feel when you're in a depressed mood in your relationship? You either going to put on some bad bitch music to make you feel good, to be like, oh, he don't know what he missing. I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. You either going to put that on, or you going to put on some Mary J. Blige because your heart is broken. Come on, family. I'm not making this up. If you know you about to cut somebody out, you're going to put on some Pop Smoke. You want to get your moves right. What? Shit, I'm about to bring it. Think I'm fucking around. I'm about to bring it. That's what we do. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm telling you guys the truth. This is how our brains are conditioned, because music reinforces the behaviors that are necessary for our survival. So I know somebody's going to say out there, listen, survival, Dr. Shonna, survival, none of that shit that we see in the community is about our survival. Says who? Says you? If you don't know what it's like to grow up in a hood and not know if a bullet is going to hit your goddamn brain when you leave your apartment, then you don't know a goddamn thing about survival. If you don't know what it's like to be in a block party having fun and then your childhood friend gets shot in the goddamn head and die and everybody disperse, you don't know a goddamn thing about survival. Am I telling my own secrets? Am I talking about my own childhood experience? Seeing a body hit the floor with a bullet in their head? Nobody wants to think about that pain every day. And so they know this. They know the impact that music has on the brain. They know the impact. They know that music will condition you. They know that music is linked to our cognition, our cognitive thinking, the way we process information, our thoughts. They know that music is linked to our emotion. You take a pained community. We are so pained. You take a pained community, and we're looking for ways to ease our pain. If it's not drugs, it's sex. If it ain't sex, it's music. If it ain't music, it's overeating. Because we're in pain. Our hood is painful. Our poverty is painful. Our incarceration history is painful. Our crackhead parents, our alcoholic parents are painful. Now, I'm not saying no other community goes through this. We all have the same type of problems we go through. But ain't nobody experience the multitude of attacks on their community like we do. And this community, the music community, is very aware, very much aware of how we are responding. They know our pain. They know our desperation. They know our oppression. They know our desire to make it. They know we look for money to survive. They know we want their materialistic advertisements they put out there. We want to be able to buy our luxury items so we can feel like we made it. We want to drive our luxury cars to indicate our status. Now, I'm not saying no other community does this. I'm not saying no other community does not pay into materialistic things in order to communicate their status. We all do this. Don't y'all start buying into racial tropes, making it seem like only the Black community do this. Every goddamn community does it, not just the Black community. But they know that it means something different for us because our experience in America is different. And they buy into it and they play into it. And they make money off of us. And everybody gets rich but us. Everybody gets rich. What do I mean when I say everybody? So some of y'all would know about the secret meeting. Y'all can look this up too. I'm going to put that link in there too because, again, I apologize for not being able to share my screen. So I'm going to put that link in there too. But a lot of people know about the secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Y'all need to write that in there, moderators. It is titled "The Secret Meeting That Changed Rap Music and Destroyed a Generation." I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Why is this important for us to know about that article? Whether it's a hoax or not, there's so much truth that's found in that article. And this article talks about a guy who is in the music industry, and he went into this secret meeting, and the door was closed, and they all had to sign papers of confidentiality saying that they will not discuss what is shared in this meeting outside of this room. And they all signed it. And then they went in and they were introduced to a speaker who only said his first name, didn't say where he was from or his last name. And in this meeting, this guy pretty much told the record producers and these record label people that he wanted them to increase the gangster rap because they needed to fill up prisons. I know some of y'all gonna be like, oh, that's a conspiracy. Oh no, Dr. Shonna, I don't know why you talking about this. I don't know why you saying that, Dr. Shonna. Like I told you guys, everything is in context, and whatever I talk about, I can prove. Y'all just have to do the work and read the information that I give you. When I put the links in the description, y'all just going to have to take your time and read it. I'm not the pastor. I don't lead a church congregation. I don't want y'all to just read the scriptures that I tell y'all to read, the little verse that I tell y'all to read so you can believe everything I'm saying. I'm going to give you guys everything you need to be educated so that we can start making changes. And not only am I going to give it to you, I'm going to let you know what you need to start doing as parents. And consumers of this music. There was a meeting. They needed to fill prisons. And they understood that the way to fill the prisons was to go through rap and hip hop. Because rap and hip hop promotes misogyny, violence, drugs, and materialism. They knew that Black people respond to music that promotes that because they know that music does something to the brain when it releases dopamine. And dopamine gives you a high, the same high that people get from eating food. And we know we got a lot of foodies out there. Who else is a foodie? I got to psychologically control myself not to cut into the baked macaroni and cheese because that shit is filled with grease, fat, and cholesterol. But ain't nothing like a bite of macaroni and cheese to get my pleasure hormone going. So if you understand the effect of eating your favorite food, what it has on you, then you also understand what music has on you. Come on, family. I'm not talking to myself. I ain't talking to myself. I know I'm not the only one. Thank you for that donation, Mary. Mary said it works in their favor. This is deep. Hip hop introduced the cadence of calling Black women out of their names. Music can be an affirmation as well. Absolutely. See, we got to understand that music is so powerful on our brain that it conditions and it programs us, and we begin to accept the narrative that music paints about our community. I was at Thanksgiving yesterday. I don't know about y'all. Y'all know I like to disclose information. We're going to go a little bit over. I want you to know we're about to surpass our hour, but I'm almost finished. I promise you. I promise you I'm almost finished. I was at Thanksgiving yesterday, like any of you guys. Well, I was at Friendsgiving because there's only a few of us, but you know, we were there. And we all had our partners with us. And we was playing music. The kids was downstairs. You know, got to keep the kids separate from the adults. Some old things we keep. Stay out of our face. Mind your goddamn business. Take your food downstairs. Play with the toys that we put downstairs. Keep the TV off. The radio off. Play with the toys. If you don't want to play with some toys, read some goddamn books and eat. But don't come upstairs because it's grown folk business. And we all sitting down there. I'm at the spades table. You know I'm the only girl at the spades table. Tearing shit up. Playing. Me and my partner against my girlfriends, their partners. I'm the only girl at the table. I'm the only one on how to play spades, playing that stuff. But what happened when that savage hit? Megan Thee Stallion. What happened when she hit? Oh shit, give me a second. And everyone jump up. And everybody doing their shit, dancing, tearing it up, right? Everybody acting stupid, doing that little dance move. Because our men are there. We got to keep the men entertained. Am I the only one to act like this? Y'all making me feel like I'm the only one to act like this. I'm the only one to play spades and twerking with our men. Y'all making it seem like it's just me. Come on, family. Y'all got to let me know y'all be on it too. Right? Thank you, Toothy. Toothy said, hey, y'all know what I'm talking about. But it felt good because the dopamine in our brain was going. And we was on our pleasure. We was on our high. We had our food. We had our music. We had our spades. We had our drink. We was acting stupid. We was taking our pictures. Am I the only one? Thank you for that, Mary. She said it ain't just you. Thank you for that, Blue. Blue said it ain't just you. Thank you for that, Ro G. Robo said, yes, we gets it in. We gets it in. But the music industry knows that. The music industry knows that. Right? And fortunately for us, we're all educated. We all got our careers. We got our retirement savings. You know, we got that shit lined up. We separate our kids from the madness. We got that going on. But how many people in our community don't or are not able to do that because of the structural racism, because of the structural society? See, a lot of us, we think that we made it by our own merit. We think that we made it on our own. You ain't make it on your own. I didn't make it on my own. When I applied to a university and I get accepted, somebody chose me because they have to fill their quota. I would like to think I've been the best thing since sliced bread, but I know I ain't the best thing since sliced bread. But some of y'all just think y'all the best thing since they ever walked out in this world. Not realizing that everything is at the context of racism and white supremacy. Not realizing that whole moment was socially engineered. Because music is a medium for social engineering. I didn't say it is the medium, but it is a medium. Coupled with drugs, coupled with alcohol, coupled with exploiting promiscuity, it sets the stage in many environments. Here we are, grown, responsible people, and we acting silly. Ain't nobody playing no jazz. That's what you play when you clean your house. Oh, you need to bring it down. You need to relax. You put on that jazz. But when you having fun, you got spades going, you got the food going, you got the music going. You ain't putting on no jazz. We're not sipping out of a snifter with cognac. But I do like my cognac in a snifter around certain audiences. However, we're not doing that. Set the stage. Music sets the stage. And every last stage-setting arena ties the profit. Every last ties the profit. So here you are, you got black labor, white wealth. You got black crime, white wealth. What do I mean when I say that? Oh, I know we going over, Father, forgive me for this. But we got black crime, white wealth. What do I mean when I say that? Think about it. What Pop Smoke said in his song, y'all know Pop Smoke songs more than I do. Feel sorry for the young thing, got his head blasted off. But he said he know how to shoot and he know how to fight. Apparently not. No disrespect. But that's what he said. He know how to shoot and he know how to fight. Don't you think our young black youth like stuff like that? Thank you for that donation, Deborah. Don't you think our young black youth connects with that? Because it's all about survival in our community for the young black youth. All about survival. Right? So we don't realize, or not we, the artists are not realizing that they carelessly promote risky behaviors. They carelessly promote violence. They carelessly promote sex. They carelessly promote drugs because they're trying to survive as well. So yeah, our youth and our young adults are in jeopardy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? But they're not in jeopardy by their own doing. They're not in jeopardy entirely from them being knuckleheads not going to school. See, everybody, like I started this video, everybody like to make it seem like the youth that we're seeing today, the young adults that we are seeing today, is a result of my generation, Generation X. This is nothing new that we are seeing. The only thing that has upped in the ante is the system's strategic use of finding another way of conditioning and engineering the minds of our youth in order to fill their prisons. Oh, I'm going to show y'all. Y'all don't believe me. I'm going to show y'all. So I know some of y'all being your white supremacist mom. We got a lot of black white supremacists out here with their anti-black sentiments. Don't understand what's at stake because they're ignorant. And I mean no disrespect. If you feel disrespected, take it as you will. But their ignorance put them in a position to blame the parents of my generation and say it's all on them. It's the way you guys raise your kids. It ain't the system. We got to stop blaming the system. The system that make you listen to music. You sound stupid and ignorant when you say that. Because none of the music that you're hearing today is different. You think it's different because the system has told you that it was different. Thank you for that donation, ADOS Tea Time with Sugar Mama. Says shout out from Sugar Mama from Compton. You teaching us tonight. Much love and appreciation for you. See you in the morning. Absolutely. Iris Family Rocks. That's for my ladies in Iris. If the ladies on this chat don't know about Iris, I suggest you go ahead to theiriswomen.com. Tomorrow we talking about narcissism and dating because y'all know I'm all about strengthening our communities. So y'all got to be in class tomorrow. Right? But we got to understand that none of this is new. They have been engineering the type of music we produce forever. If you really want to do your research, go into the archives of the music industry and listen to the music from the Generation X days. Listen to the music from the silent generation days. That music was disrespectful too. And there's more artists out now than it was then. So now we have even more disrespectful artists and disrespectful music. But it doesn't mean like this music is new. Because the music industry, as I stated in the beginning of this video, they know what sells. They know that sex sells. They know that violence sells, drugs sell, materialism sells. The music has always known that. So yeah, our generation is at risk. But guess what? It ain't their fault. I know y'all don't want to hear that. What's up, Soror D? D June. There's an AKA in the house. Z5B, stand up. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but I'm gonna bring you. I'm gonna wrap this all up. I'm gonna give y'all the information right now. I want y'all to go to the Atlantic. So I'm gonna put the link out there as well. Let me go ahead and copy this link for some people who want to see the link right now, because I'm gonna start getting into the proof. I want to back up everything I'm saying because I know some of y'all ain't gonna go do your own research. I'm gonna try to give y'all the information so you can do your own research yourself. But this article I just posted is from the Atlantic. And what is important for you to know from the Atlantic, it's called the Prison Industrial Complex. I'm going down a few paragraphs, right? And I'm going to read from, I don't know what number paragraph it is, but I'm going to read from this paragraph that starts with the raw material of the prison industrial complex is its inmates. Yeah, hear what I said? The raw material. So I want you to think about the raw material in terms of resources. Like, think about it like gold. Think about it like sapphire, right? Think about resources, raw material that you get from the earth that is valuable, that people can use in the trading industry. Listen to the language that is written in this article from the Atlantic, theatlantic.com, a very reputable source. It says the raw material of the prison industrial complex is its inmates. The inmates are like gold. The poor, the homeless, and the mentally ill, drug dealers, drug addicts, alcoholics, and a wide assortment of violent sociopaths. Then it goes on to tell you that 70% of the prison population in the United States is illiterate. Illiterate. It says a generation ago, now we're talking about everything has to be in context. So if this article was written, let's see when it was written. Give me a second. This article was written in 1998, right? So I was in my 20s in 1998. It said a generation ago. So it's talking about my mama's generation, who was a boomer. Oh, y'all not ready for this. They're not ready for it because they letting you know. They letting you know that a generation ago they were locked up too. It says a generation ago, such people were handled primarily by the mental health, not the criminal justice system. Not because they weren't committing crimes, not because they weren't mentally ill. It was more resources and money going into helping the community a generation ago. Not because they was helping our community, because a generation ago, our community was in segregation. So we was in segregation. They weren't really helping us. See, when you read these kind of articles, everything got to be unpacked. It says a generation ago, such people, the drug dealers, drug addicts, alcoholics, violent sociopaths, the mentally ill, the poor, the homeless, such people were handled primarily by the mental health and not the criminal justice system. 60 to 80% of the American inmate population has a history of substance abuse. Meanwhile, the number of drug treatment slots in American prisons has declined by more than half since 1993. Among those arrested for violent crimes, the proportion who are African American men has changed little over the past 20 years. But you guys have been led to believe that is the violence of Black men that are getting them locked up. It said it has changed little over the last 20 years. Among those arrested for drug crimes, the proportion who are African American men has tripled. Tripled. Although the prevalence of illegal drug use among white men is approximately the same as that among Black men are 5 times as likely to be arrested for a drug offense. As a result, about half of the inmates in the United States are African American. 1 out of every 14 Black men is now in prison or jail. I want y'all to read that article on your own. I'm going to stop right there on that article. Y'all need to read that article because I'm setting the stage. This article from the Atlantic was written in 1998. I'm bringing you up to speed. That's 1998. That's 22 years ago. 22 years ago. But in 2011, 13 years after that article, let me go ahead and give you guys this next link. Right? Let me go ahead and give you guys this next link. Y'all got that link? Hope y'all got that next link. 13 years ago, 13 years later, A Pennsylvania judge gets life sentence for prison kickback scheme. A judge in Pennsylvania, Judge Mark Chiavarella, who knows what his name is, Chiavarella, Italian guy, has been spending his time doing odd jobs for a car towing service, awaiting his sentence since being found guilty on felony corruption charges. He was found guilty in February of racketeering for taking a $1 million kickback from the builder of for-profit prisons for juveniles. Chiavarella, who left the bench over 2 years ago after he and another judge, Michael Conahan, were accused of sentencing youngsters to prison. He was accused of sentencing youngsters to prison. They had a hand in building. So there were a lot of prisons that were being built. And these two judges have agreed with the for-profit prison operation. They got found out in 2009, which was 11 years after the article. 2011, which is 13 years after the article, they're awaiting their sentence because they were found guilty of accepting money, $1 million kickback from the builder of for-profit prisons for juvenile. So what does this mean, family? What does this mean? It goes on to say Sandy Fonzo's son, Edward, was a promising young athlete in high school when at the age of 17, he found himself in front of Judge Chiavarella for possession of drug paraphernalia. With no prior convictions, the judge sentenced Edward to months in private prison and a wilderness camp. He missed his entire senior year in high school. Edward never recovered from the experience, according to his mother. And in June 2010, he took his own life at the age of 23. What story does that remind you of? Now, we don't know who Sandy Fonzo is. I'm sure we can Google her and look that up. But we know about Khalid Broader. We know that he was wrongfully imprisoned. You got to understand that this is a whole system here that's at play. This is a whole system. Not only do you have the music industry working against us, we have the prison industry that saw another avenue to get people locked up. I already went over the secret meeting that was had that told these music industry executives to promote gangster rap and derogatory hip hop so that they can increase the crime in the communities to lock these people up. Because they already know what music does to the brain. They already know that music controls the cognition and the behavior of the brain. I'm not telling you nothing new. This is a Harvard University study on music. Y'all don't got to believe me. I'm giving y'all all the links. This is a Harvard University study on music that lets you know how music controls the mind and the behavior. And I told you, white people like to study us all the time. They want to see what we're going to do versus what we're not going to do. They want to know our limits. They want to know how excited we get. They put a black in front of us, and we don't give a fuck how it's advertised. We don't give a fuck about the consequences. We just support them because they're black. Even if it means locking our asses up. Even if it means putting us on the unemployment line. Even if it means decimating our wealth. If it's a black face, we trust it. If it's a black face, we support it. If it's a black face, we stand behind it. Am I lying, people? We don't like to believe this, but it's true. We see a black face in politics, we get excited. The black face can be the devil his goddamn self, and we don't even know that the devil came disguised to kill, steal, and destroy us. We don't even know they came disguised. When we see a black face, we say, he all right. He a brother. We got to stand for our brothers. We got to stand for our sisters. Meanwhile, it's a black white supremacist. Oh, y'all know who I'm talking about. I ain't gotta say it on this video. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Look at the goddamn timeline. Who was in chair 2011? Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. But that's not enough for you. I'm going to move on to the next article I'm going to post out here. Right? It says prison industries don't let society improve or we lose business. They got this information directly out of a report of a company that supports the privatization of prisons. I'll put that link in there, family. I want y'all to open up all these links. It's a lot of reading. Now you see why I appreciate the donations, because it keeps me going. It's a lot of reading to get the information out to you all. But in this article, let me read to you what it says. It says, if you have any doubt in your mind that improving society and lowering the number of prisoners in our country is a threat to the prison industry business, all you need to do is to read about the concern that the GEO Group's 2011, whose presidency is that under? 2011 annual report. GEO is a private organization that is nonpartisan, and they give money to both the Republican and the Democratic Party for their interests. And their interest was the privatization of prison. And they are the people who needed their prisons filled. And they are the people who enter into contracts with other people to ensure that their prisons get filled. And I just gave you guys an article from 1998 written in a reputable research source called The Atlantic that said that inmates are raw material. Black labor, white wealth. Black crime, white wealth. Now, y'all know Black crime, white wealth ain't a book. But that's what I'm telling y'all. That's the next book, right? For somebody to write. I don't want to write it, but y'all can write it. Black crime, white wealth. And it says here from this 2011 annual report, in particular, the demand for our correctional and detention facilities and services and BI services could be adversely affected by changes in existing criminal or immigration laws. Crime rates in jurisdictions in which we operate. What they're talking about is where their private prisons are located. They're located in high crime areas, including immigration areas that have high immigration. That's their jurisdiction. It says the relaxation of criminal or immigration enforcement efforts, leniency in conviction, sentencing or deportation practices, and the decriminalization of certain activities that are currently proscribed by criminal laws are the loosening of immigration laws. For example, any changes with respect to the decriminalization of drugs and controlled substances could affect the number of persons arrested, convicted, sentenced, and incarcerated, thereby potentially reducing demand for correctional facilities to house them. Similarly, reductions in crime rates could lead to reductions in arrests, convictions, and sentences requiring incarceration at correctional facilities. Immigration reform laws, which are currently a focus for legislators and politicians at the federal, state, and local level, also could materially adversely impact us. I put the link in there, family. I put the link in there. So I started off this video by saying that the music industry, socially historical in the past, right, where it started, they did not want to market race records, Black music. and they were convinced to sign an artist by the name of Mamie Smith. I'm giving y'all a little recap. They were not convinced that her music was going to be successful. So they came up with marketing campaigns that was disrespectful to the Black community. They characterized us as coons and caricatures to sell her albums. We ignored all the disrespectful context in their marketing, all the disrespectful imagery in their marketing, and we bought her records anyway. The first record, only 2 records. The first one, only 2 songs. The first song selling 75,000 copies. The second song selling 100,000 copies, despite the disrespectful marketing. We went for it. And we blew the roof off of the music industry. And all the other white labels saw an opportunity to make money. Thank you for that donation, Black Mama. There go Black Mama. Big up to Black Mama. We love Black Mama. Black media loves Black Mama. She's always supportive. Says, thank you for the knowledge and receipts, Dr. Shonna. Right? So after they realized, the white record labels realized that it was money and they can exploit us by any means necessary. And we would still buy it. They made sure they pushed music that was going to sell. Not music to uplift you, not conscious music to shift your behavior and make you want to do better. Conscious music don't sell. Not because it isn't good. Conscious music is excellent. It doesn't sell because it doesn't make the white man money. They need music that's going to impact the brain. They need music that's going to increase the dopamine in your brain, because we are a depressed community. We are an anxious community. We are a community where conduct disorders are found because of the system that we live in, because of the oppression that is on us, the poverty that is on us, the lack of education or quality education that is on us. We are a hurting community. And what happens to hurt people? The only thing hurt people want is relief from the pain. And ever since we have come from Jamestown, ever since we got into this world, this new world, this America, we have been singing to release ourselves of pain. We have been singing away our sorrows, saving away our beatings, saving away our rapings, saving around our children being sold, saving away our wives and our husbands being sold, singing away our dignity, singing away our embarrassment, singing away them shaving up our hair, whipping our backs. We've been singing all of our goddamn life just to survive, and it made us feel good, and it helped us to get through our work day. From music, because it's something about the melanated people when you put music on. And they know that. And they knew it was an opportunity to condition us and program us. They knew if you sold hip hop and rap, they knew if you say fuck a bitch, beat a nigga, smoke some dope, it was going to sell. Pop that molly, have some sex, hitting it raw. They knew it was going to sell, and they also knew it would destroy our community, and they also knew it would create scarcity in our community. They also knew that we would kill each other in order to get a dollar so we can look like the people who look like they got money in our community. Everybody want to look like the people who got money. They knew it was going to do that to our community. They knew it was going to depress us and it was going to destroy us. And they sold it anyway because they wanted to line their pockets. Then the prison industry communicated with different presidents from 1998 all the way into Obama's term. in order for them to build private prisons, in order for them to get some money. And they said music is a great way to do it because we understand how the brain works. Thank you for that donation. Here for the Truth. Here for the Truth is always on this network. I appreciate that. They knew that it was going to control our behavior. Here's another article I want y'all to read. I just put it out there as a report. And this report was commissioned by the Obama's administration. Oh, y'all ain't ready for that. I told y'all we was going over. This is a 2-hour show. I told y'all we was going over because I am not walking away from this conversation without giving you guys all the knowledge you need. Everything is intersected. Intersectionality. You cannot talk about the issues in our community without addressing everything that causes it. The effect is what you see. The effect is the crime. The effect is the diseases. The effect is the poor health. The effect is the illiteracy. Those are effects, but the cause is white supremacy. Somebody said intersectionality. Look it up, baby. You know I'm a scholar. I'm gonna have to give you the language that we know. Look it up. Intersectionality means you got to examine more than one avenue. You can't just say, this is the reason why our youth is acting crazy because they ain't got no home training and their parents are ignorant. You can't just say that. You got to peel it back and see how wicked this world is. Because everything in universal law has a cause and effect. You got to peel it back. You gotta peel it back. So Obama said something is crazy here. He said, Bill, William Clinton. Now y'all know I'm imagining this how the conversation went. You know you done fucked up with that 1994 crime bill, right? You know the researchers done picked this up. There's a whole bunch of articles out there on mass incarceration and the prison industry. Y'all understand that? And Bill said, yeah, well, I didn't know what was going to happen. What do you want to do? You know the black community is angry again, right, Bill? Yeah, well, this is your problem now. You know, you it's all on you now. And I ain't got nothing to do with it. He said, well, I'm going to order a report. I want to study. So the link that I just put in there, the last link I just put, was a result of study. I gave y'all the short report because the other one is plenty of pages, over 50 pages. It's a bigger report. So I gave y'all the summary. But in essence, the recommendations that they gave the Obama administration was, listen, it's been proven that educational programs in prison reduce crime and it reduces recidivism. The return to prison. That's what recidivism is, right? It reduces the return to prison. We need to have the educational programs in a prison. But in 2010, they cut it. They cut funding. Why? Because the corporation I just told y'all about, GEO, and I forgot the other corporation, CCA or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I think the other corporation, a major corporation, is CCA and GEO. But nonetheless, they cut it because they was getting money, kickbacks to fill them prisons. Cut the educational component because they need the prisoners to go back. You lock them up. You strip their opportunity to make money. You strip their opportunity to get a job. You strip them opportunity to have low-income housing. You strip their opportunity to get welfare and other services just so they can get by and try to do right. You strip them of that. You release them into the wilderness with no education, no vocational skill. Even though they're making your furniture in prison, they're making your license plates in prison. They're farming your crops in prison. They clean up your highways in prison. They're doing all that for 35 cents in a commissary. They're doing all of that, working their asses off. They're packaging the food that you eat. Y'all didn't know that? Oops, I blew it for you. Packaging the food you eat in their prisons. And then you release them out. Like there's some World War II and Vietnam vets and don't give them no goddamn services because you knew that that was going to make them go right back to prison. And once again, the money, make it rain. It's going to funnel in. Read the report. Y'all don't believe me? How about we look at a report from the criminal justice system? The Justice Policy Institute. They wrote a report and they got a beautiful picture of a white man playing chess. What do I always tell your family? Y'all better know how to play chess. What do I always tell you? While the black man is sleeping till the sun rises in his ass, the white man is out there figuring out how he's going to take over the world. Y'all don't like to hear this stuff, but this stuff is the truth. I just put another link. Go ahead and look at that link. Let's go on to that report. I so wish I was able to share my screen today. Go ahead and look at that report. It's called Gaming the System. How the political strategies of private prison, how the political strategies of private prison companies promote ineffective incarceration policies. The Justice Policy Institute put this out. Yeah, the other company, GEO Group, is CCA, which is Corrections Corporation of America. Right? They had over a combined income of $2.9 billion in revenue in 2010 from the prison industry. It says the pro-incarceration policies that private prison companies promote do nothing in building relationship networks and association. It does nothing to improve communities or cut costs, and may actually have the opposite effect. It does nothing. You want to know what CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, in 2010, what their annual report says? I'm going to read it to you. It says the demand for our facilities and services could be adversely affected. That means negatively affected by the relaxation of enforcement efforts, leniency in conviction or parole standards and sentencing practices, or through the decriminalization of certain activities that are currently proscribed by criminal laws. Why do you think it took so long for states to start legalizing marijuana? This wasn't a joke. They wasn't being serious about your health with marijuana. They weren't concerned about your impact on the brain. They knew that marijuana was a big money maker for them when it comes to filling their prisons. They knew that petty drugs was a big money maker. And here this report is saying, listen, people, if they start decriminalizing certain activities, shit, we're going to have a problem here. Then they went on to give examples. It says, for instance, any changes with respects to drugs and controlled substances or illegal immigration could affect the number of persons arrested, convicted, and sentenced, thereby potentially reducing demand for correctional facilities to house them. Legislation has been proposed in numerous jurisdictions that could lower minimum sentences for some non-violent crimes and make more inmates eligible for early release based on good behavior. Also, sentencing alternatives under consideration could put some offenders on probation with electronic monitoring who would otherwise be incarcerated. Similarly, reductions in crime rates or resources dedicated to prevent and enforce crime could lead to reductions in arrest, could lead to reductions in convictions, could lead to reductions in sentences requiring incarceration at correction facilities. This is what the CCA, the private company that has private prisons all around the United States where Blacks and immigrants reside, this is what they wrote in their 2010 annual report. Now, all of a sudden, 10 years later, everybody starts decriminalizing marijuana. Everybody starts becoming crazy about prison reform and shutting them down. They knew this shit was coming. They knew they were doing dirty business. They knew they were socially engineering our community to be incarcerated. They knew they were starving our community of opportunities. They knew they was putting money in both the Republican and the Democratic hands because it's bipartisan. They knew they was putting money in their hands to create laws to lock our asses up. They knew we were the target. Anybody exploits us. You're not convinced yet, right? You're not convinced yet. Well, there was another article in 2018. I'm taking y'all all the way up to speed, right? I'm letting y'all know. I'm giving y'all all these articles. I want y'all to see for yourself. There was another article in 2018. Let me go ahead and post the link. Check out that article. Boom. There you go. I want somebody to challenge me. Come on. I got it. I got all the evidence. And I'm not even giving y'all research articles. I'm giving y'all things y'all easy for y'all to read. But this article right here I just posted from the Crime Report, your criminal justice network. It says, why aren't we spending more on prisoner education? What I already told you, they talk about the report I already gave you from Rand. How Rand recommended to the Obama administration that you can't cut funding to education. We have to have effective programs that's going to reduce crime and recidivism. Right? It says research tells us that 95% of those incarcerated today, this is 2018, those who have been incarcerated today will be released within 5 years. Within 3 years, the majority of those currently behind bars will be returning to society. We are not likely to reduce sentence lengths or parole for the most of these people. So why don't we take this opportunity to educate them while they are behind bars? That's what it says. It says, oddly, the study focused mostly on mental health and substance abuse and did not cite the extensive research report conducted by the Rand Corporation in recent years. The CEA report, however, did say, we calculate that educational programming needs only a modest impact on recidivism rates of around 2% in order to be cost effective. Meaning it would save our nation more money to educate them while they're in prison than to let them out without a prison. And they noticed the Obama administration paid for this research. They hired this team to research it. But some of y'all say, what's going to change now? It's going to change now, Dr. Shonna, because Biden is going to do criminal justice reform. That's what y'all say, right? Well, here's another proof for you. How about you look at that? How about you look at what I just posted? Another link to debunk your myth. Private prison, and this is written in August 13, 2020. Election was when? Oh, I get it, November 2020. But y'all only was focused on the election, thinking it was going to change. But here's a trick back for you. Private prison industry backs Trump, prepares if Biden wins. Because the private prison industry is bipartisan. Right? It says Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has committed to ending the use of private prisons for detention after facing pressure from Bernie Sanders and other liberals who argue for-profit detention is tied to racial injustice and policies that lead to more incarceration. Biden's pledge would be a major change from when he was vice president during Barack Obama's administration, which opened family detention centers in Texas operated by both companies and deported more than 3 million people. They had their dirty little hands in this. Positioning themselves for the future, GEO and Core Civic recently agreed to long-term contracts with the Trump administration for several immigration detention centers in Texas and California. Those agreements would be difficult to unwind if Biden wins, but you already know that they're prepared for it. It says the services we provide, talking about the private industry, the services, this is from GEO Group, which is one of the major private industries for private prisons, says the service we provide today are in no way different from the high quality professional services we provided for 8 years under President Obama's administration. Right? They're not worrying about it. They're not worrying about it. Because they're going to get their money regardless. It said the actual history is different than what people's perceptions would be. Under the Obama administration, both Core Civic and GEO did fine. This is a big money industry, family. This is a big money industry. We are up against a lot. We are up against a lot. Right? So what am I saying? I gave you all the education as I start to get out of here in the next 3 minutes. What am I saying to you, family? We got to understand that we got to work diligently. And not only do we have to do what we need to do collectively, and I don't want y'all to have this wrong narrative that we are not doing what we need to do. Parents are trying their best. And I think that some of us, with our anti-Black sentiments and our anti-Black mindsets, we don't even know we have it, right? It's subconscious. We just do it because we think the people who are out there in the street, they're a bunch of knuckleheads. They got terrible parents. But don't forget, even though they're blaming our generation, my generation, the Generation X's, for raising knuckleheads, you boomers, y'all was our parents. So you don't want to accept responsibility if we are raising the knuckleheads. So y'all just perfect, right? Y'all don't know what's going on with this generation, even though it's your family, it's your descendants, it's your generation, it's your bloodline, but all of them are knuckleheads, right? Anti-Black sentiments. But I want to say that there are a lot of Black families out there that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're trying to stay afloat. They're trying to do what the American dream has sold them to do. Get a great job, get a great education. Let me erase that. Get a great education, get a good job, get married, have kids, buy a house, 2.5 garages, 2.5 kids, 2.5 dogs, whatever the hell the American dream is. They want them to do all these crazy things. This is what you absolutely must do, but no one prepares you for how your children's mind is being conditioned. Somebody's going to say, well, control what they listen to. Let me see how much you can control what a teenager listens to when you have iPhones, you got iPads, you got Droids, you got YouTube, you got social media. They get this music everywhere. Right? Cartoons, yes. Right? For cartoons too, absolutely. Have y'all watched a children's cartoon recently? It reinforces everything. It controls the child's mind from the minute they can start understanding language. The mind is controlled. So we are up against a lot. I know a lot of excellent parents who have children who are subjected to life-changing experiences that will subject them to a life of poverty because of one mistake. Because of one mistake. White people make mistakes all the goddamn time and don't end up in prison. One mistake. One mistake, not because they didn't come from good stock, not because they weren't good kids, but their minds have been conditioned to live a certain lifestyle. And in your home, they're presenting as the respectable young men and women you raised them to be. And when they go to school, they're sucking dick in the staircase and selling drugs down the block. Not because they have to. They're coming from respectable homes, not because they have to, but because society says that's cool based on the music that they're pumping in our homes. You can only do what you can do as parents. But if you think that this system is not designed to keep our children and our generations to follow at the bottom caste, you are sadly mistaken. And the people who think is differently, I know they have limited understanding and they stop reading. What do I mean when I say they stop reading? And I don't mean no disrespect, but I'm just saying. How many, let's just be honest, how many people read every day information to understand? How many people read every day information to help them to understand politics, to help them to understand the system that we live in, to help them understand oppression, to help them understand racism, white supremacy, and white superiority, to help them understand agendas that are put out there, whether they're LGBTQ agendas, immigration agendas, the Black incarceration agenda? How many people understand these things? How many people unpack this stuff on a daily basis? No, you don't. Don't lie, you don't. You don't. You don't do this work. This work is hard. This work is boring. When you want to compare it to shaking your ass, when you want to compare it to working your ass off, whether you shaking your ass or you working your ass off, when you working your ass off, you come home, you tired, and you got to clean, and you have to cook, and you have to do homework, and you got to put your kids to bed. You don't want to pick up no goddamn articles to read. So we depend on Black media. We depend on Black intellects in our community. We ain't talking about the blue check bootleg. We ain't talking about that community. That community is toxic. And I know some of y'all like to watch the Roland Martins of the world, the Joy Reids of the world. I know y'all like to watch that because most of y'all boomers that watch them people, and they're toxic. They have a lot of anti-Black sentiments, and they're looking to get fed. They're looking to get their come up. So they ain't gonna tell you the truth. I know y'all love to see your President Obama on the Breakfast Club. That's a whole nother video that I'm not getting in today. But I know y'all like to see stuff like that because he look good. He got a swag. Not listen to the stuff that he says that's demeaning to your goddamn community. He don't know a goddamn thing about the Black community. He don't know a goddamn thing about the Black experience, but he has sold you guys a trick bag, and y'all believe that he does because we can all say Black and everybody fit into the same bag. Not realizing that our ancestor, James Baldwin, not realizing he didn't have the language when he said Black is a condition and white is a mindset. If he had the language we have right now, he would say ADOS is a condition. Because that's what he was talking about. But that's a whole nother conversation y'all ain't ready for. I ain't talking about that shit tonight. It's a whole nother conversation. We got to elevate our minds, people. We got to elevate our minds and elevate our understanding. I know this pisses people off, especially some of the older folks that really think they're doing a goddamn thing when they go out there and they just vote on emotions. And then you have somebody like James Clyburn coming back and saying he's disappointed in the assignments that Joe Biden is putting out there. And he got to get more Black people in there. He's disappointed. What did you think he was going to do? You got a racist motherfucker that told you he ain't want your Black ass kids with his white ass kids. You that on national TV. You got a racist motherfucker that told you that we were predators on national TV. Y'all just think that changed? Y'all just think his racism went away? Now you disappointed? They ain't ready for this. They ain't ready for this. Dean, I'm not saying that all baby boomers are bad. My baby boomers that are in the critical thinking community, they know I big them up big time. I'm not saying all of them is bad, but we cannot ignore bad behaviors. And that's the thing. That every time somebody puts something out there, we say, well, not all boomers are bad. Not all white people are bad. Not all crackheads are bad. But we know that. We know that, but we can't ignore the shit that is bad. We can't ignore the people that are in position of influence that have fucked us over. Not all of them are bad, but what about the ones that are bad? What impact do they have on us collectively on the macro level? Oh, okay, Dean. Dean said, I didn't respond to you, doctor. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, I just saw not all of them are bad, but listen. All right, family. That's all I got here. What's up, Nick Music? Nick Music said, it's easier to read now, though, fam. We can bring most of these articles up on our smartphones, and now they have audiobooks, which make it easier for us. We got to do it, right? Black Mama said Joe Biden said he wrote the crime bill just short of hanging them, young black teens, for jaywalking. And this is who black people enthusiastically voted for. Shaking my head. But you can't tell them nothing about their decisions, but they're quick to blame the younger generations. Y'all created the younger generation. Y'all not exempt for that shit. Y'all created the younger generations. Y'all created the younger generations, and y'all voted in people who had a mind to destroy the younger generation because you failed to do your research. It's about critical thinking. It's about elevating your thoughts so we can make informed decisions for our community. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say, family. I love you all. Sunday, I'll be on here Sunday. The show will be an hour on Sunday. It won't be 2 hours. Y'all ain't got shit to do tonight. So I thank y'all for being on here. Just like I ain't got nothing to do tonight but talk to y'all, right? So I thank y'all for being on here to listen to me. Sunday, we're going to address the Black community, right? It's not going to be mental health. It's not going to be tied to mental health on Sunday. It's going to be an address to the Black community. So I see you guys all on Sunday. Have a great night.